All right, board exams are looming, right? And I get it, the pressure is probably starting to feel, well, pretty intense. But what if I told you there's a way to cut through all that stress? A real strategic path to not just pass, but to absolutely crush your English exam. Seriously, forget the anxiety, because today we're handing you the exact blueprint for a perfect score.
First things first, I want to show you a number. A number that should really grab your attention. 80%.
Yep, you heard that right. For a staggering 80% of students, English is the one subject that just pulls down their overall score. I mean, think about it. You spend all year battling with math formulas, wrestling with science concepts, and then, out of nowhere, English becomes this silent percentage killer. It's wild.
So, when you see a number like that, it's easy to think, oh great, what's the point? You're probably wondering, is a perfect score even possible? I mean, it's English, it's subjective, right?
Well, the answer is a huge, resounding yes. This isn't some myth or a fairy tale. Real students just like you have done it. Take Divya Namdev, for example. She scored a perfect 100 in 2022. See, it's totally achievable. It's not about luck or magic. It's all about having the right strategy. And that's exactly what we're going to lay out for you today.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with the English exam challenge itself. Then we'll dive into a 30-day master plan. After that, we're cracking the code on literature and mastering writing and grammar. We've even got some secrets from an examiner, and it all leads to one place, your path to 100%.
You know, the pressure from board exams can feel like this giant, foggy cloud of stress, right? But the second you give it some structure, you turn that anxiety into a solid plan, and boom, you're back in control. So let's start building that strategy right now.
Okay, so the most important thing is having a solid framework to start with, and that's where our 30-day master plan comes in. Now listen, this isn't about cramming for 10 hours straight. No way. This is about smart, consistent work that actually builds momentum so you don't burn out.
So, how does this whole 30-day thing actually work? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Step 1, days 1 to 5. This is all about your foundation. I mean, really reading every chapter, every poem, not just for the plot, but for the themes, the characters, all those literary devices. This is when you make your first set of notes. Okay, next up, days 6 to 10. Now we build momentum. Start practicing writing summaries, tackling the short questions, just get used to putting your thoughts on paper. And then, days 11 to 15. This is when you got to be honest with yourself. Focus on your weak spots. Is it analytical paragraphs, tenses, poetic devices, whatever it is, this is the time to go after it. From day 16 to 25, that's a solid 10-day block. It's all practice and revision. This is when you dust off those previous year's papers and start solving them section by section. The final sprint, days 26 to 29, is mock mode, full on. You need to do at least 3 full-length tests with a timer, no cheating. And finally, day 30, you chill. Seriously, do nothing. You've earned it, and your brain needs that break to be sharp for the big.
And here's the best part about this whole thing. You don't have to ditch your other subjects. We're talking just 1.5 hours of really focused, quality study time for English each day. That's it. That's all you need to follow this plan and get amazing results. It's all about consistency, not cramming. Trust me.
All right, so we've got the big picture, the macro plan, sorted. Now let's zoom in on what is, for most students, the #1 headache, the literature section. You know what I'm talking about. Those long answers that feel like an absolute nightmare to memorize, and then, actually write in the exam. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You've watched the summary videos, you get the whole story in Hindi, you know exactly what's going on, but the second you try to write a long answer in English, poof, the right words just vanish. You totally blank out. This is the most common problem, but don't worry, we have a technique that's going to fix it.
It's called the 10 reading rule, and it's a total game changer. It's super simple and takes like 12 minutes an answer. Here's how it works. You take a good model answer and you read it 5 times in a row. Out loud is even better. Then just take a quick 1-minute break. Close your eyes and picture the key points, the flow of the answer. Got it? Okay, then you read it 5 more times. And for the final, most important step, you write the whole thing down by hand, from memory, just once. The act of actually writing it down locks it into your brain. Seriously, you won't be able to forget it. But look, it's not just about memorizing. The students who get top marks, they analyze the answers. If you want full marks, you absolutely have to know your literary devices. It's literally the difference between getting 3 out of 5 and getting a perfect 5. Let's just take irony, for instance. Super simple, right? It's when what actually happens is the total opposite of what you expect to happen. And hey, you've got a perfect example right in your syllabus. Remember A Letter to God? Lencho has this incredible faith that God will send him money. The post office guys see his letter and are so touched that they pool their own money to send him some. So what does Lencho do when he gets it and it's less than he asked for? He calls them a bunch of crooks. He blames the very people who helped him. That is textbook irony. And slipping that term into your answer, that's a guaranteed way to boost your mark.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about the writing and grammar section. Now, I want you to stop thinking of this part as art, where everything is subjective. Instead, think of it like science. There are fixed rules, there are specific formats, and if you just follow them, the marks are pretty much guaranteed. It's that simple.
Let's zoom in on analytical paragraphs. This is where you can instantly level up your answer with some examiner-friendly words. So instead of saying something went up, try skyrocketed or soared. Instead of went down, use plummeted or declined. A big change? Nah, it's a striking difference. See? This isn't about just trying to sound fancy. It shows the person checking your paper that you really have a strong grip on the language.
And when it comes to structure, it's totally non-negotiable. You start with an intro saying what the chart shows, the body is where you describe the trends and compare the data, and you finish with a conclusion that sums it all up. But here is the golden rule, the one thing you cannot forget. Stick to the facts. Do not, under any circumstances, give your personal opinion. The question is not asking what you think, it's asking what you see in the data.
All right, here's a really smart strategic choice you can make during the exam. This is a tip that comes straight from a board examiner. So in the letter writing section, you usually get a choice, right? A letter to the editor needs you to be creative and persuasive, but a business letter, that follows a super strict fixed format. So here's the pro tip. If creativity isn't your biggest strength, always go for the business letter. You're just playing it safe, minimizing the chance for mistakes, and maximizing your marks for getting the format right.
Okay, now for the part I know you've been waiting for. We've got some real insider info here. The kind of common mistakes a CBSE examiner sees over and over and over again. Knowing this stuff is basically like getting a cheat sheet for what not to do.
So you're going to want to listen up. These aren't just little slip-ups. These are the kinds of mistakes that can lead to automatic mark deductions. Honestly, just avoiding these is one of the easiest ways to save your score.
Let's run through them. Mistake number 1, not using that 15-minute reading time properly. Look, it's not reading time, it's planning time. Use it to decide which questions to tackle and map out your answers. It's a total game changer. Number 2, misreading the question. Oh, this one hurts. You write this perfect answer to the wrong question. Read it twice, underline the important words. Make sure you know what they're asking. Number 3, going way over the word limit. Your examiner is reading hundreds of papers. A super long answer is just annoying, and it will get penalized. Be sharp, be concise. Number 4, copy-pasting from the comprehension passage. They want to see that you understood it, not that you can copy it. Rephrase it in your own words. Always. And finally, mistake number 5, forgetting to save 5 minutes at the end to revise. This is your chance to catch all those silly spelling and grammar errors that just throw away easy marks.
So there you have it. We've covered the master plan, the special techniques, and the traps to avoid. Now it's time to put it all together for that final push. This is it. This is your path to 100%.
So let's recap your strategic toolkit nice and quick. First, stick to the 30-day master plan for a solid structure. Second, use the 10 reading rule to nail those long answers. Third, level up your vocabulary in the writing section. Fourth, avoid those top 5 common mistakes at all costs. And last but not least, solve those previous year's question papers. They are your best friend for knowing what's coming.
And look, before we wrap up, I want you to change the way you think about this exam. It's not just a test, it's an opportunity. It's your chance to show them what you know. With this blueprint in hand, you're not just prepared, you're in complete control. So the only real question left is, what story is your answer sheet going to tell? Go make it an unforgettable one.